Yeah, I'm going to say something that's probably not going to sit well with a lot of people.
Oh, great. You never do that.
The days of agencies focusing on single disciplines is going to be gone.
The term I'm going to use is AI fatigue on the consumer level.
Yep.
I think a key to success is bringing more human element into the customer service side of the business. Welcome back to the Jon Marc Podcast. We are live in Orlando, and today I have my special guest, the Oracle, John Robinson.
The Oracle?
Yes.
That's a new. I've been called a lot of things in my life, but Oracle is not one of them.
And today will probably be the last day, because today we are doing the 2026 predictions. We have a laundry list to get through. I think we have at least 8 items to go through. So, John, first big prediction we're going to be making is a big shift from traditional TV spends into streaming and social.
I think this is a trend that's been happening for a while, but 2026 is probably the year that the pendulum swings in the other direction and remnant budget gets spent on traditional TV. There's just too many eyeballs that are shifting away from watching regular TV. Like, I don't know many people who still have a traditional TV package. Maybe cable. I use YouTube TV. What do you use?
YouTube TV.
It's not worth spending the money if the eyeballs aren't there. And that's what it's all about, is where are people going? How are people consuming content? And then how do you get your message in front of those people? And TV, traditional TV at least, is just not the way anymore.
Not saying traditional TV is going away, but we are predicting a larger shift in those massive budgets moving away from TV into those different channels, which is streaming and social. So part of the reason I predict this is happening, because not only are the eyeballs moving, but the technology from a streaming perspective is just getting so much better. And the personalization and the targeting you're able to do with either streaming and social platforms now is you're able to get your ads directly in front of the audiences and households you want and not waste any marketing dollars on showing your commercial to anyone you don't want. With linear TV is you're buying a commercial spot and whoever sees it, sees it.
That's a really good point, right? People have been making, law firms specifically, have been making their media buying decisions based around showing their ad when they think people would be watching.
Correct.
Right? So you're buying a placement. There are people who are injured, they're home from work, they're sitting at home, maybe they're watching like the judge shows or they're watching game shows. And that's traditionally like where advertising dollars would go in the middle of the day. But you're also getting a large portion of your audience that is just not injured and just at home and they're watching these shows. If instead you could target individuals based on certain criteria, well, now all of a sudden it doesn't matter when you're actually showing those ads.
Yes.
That's the power, right? So traditionally, people watching, Price is Right, you're going to pay hundreds of dollars for those spots, and you're hoping a percentage of those people wind up being part of your target audience, versus taking the same budget or even less budget and targeting just the people that you want to target, whether it's geographically, whether it's demographically, regardless of when that ad actually winds up showing. It's definitely a mindset shift. Talked to a lot of law firm partners about this shift, and I've heard in 2025 that there's a 20 to 30% shift of marketing budget from traditional TV over to streaming. I think in 2026, like I said, that's when the pendulum really swings in the other direction. I think over 50% of marketing budgets by the end of the year are going to be moving from traditional TV into either connected TV, streaming, or YouTube, social, right? It's just wherever those eyeballs are where you could target people through all these different mechanisms.
Yeah, and part of the prediction too is people actually watch TV differently now, so all across different devices.
Hold on for a sec. Right before we sat down, you said, "Hey, John, I was looking at our analytics of our podcast. What'd you tell me?"
33% of people watch our YouTube content on their TVs.
Which is amazing to me. I'm thinking like when I listen to a podcast, I'm listening in my car, or I'm working and I'm watching it on my computer and listening to it. I'm not thinking people are actually watching us on TV right now. If you're watching us on TV right now, put something in the comments, let us know, because I want to know who's actually watching us on TV. That is an interesting thing, but I digress, right? It's a whole different way to consume content now. Same box, right? It's a big screen, it's hanging on your wall, but what people are actually getting through that is very, very different. It used to be you screw in the coaxial cable and you play with your rabbit ears and you get what comes to your TV. Now it's much more controlled.
Yeah, and the way that people watch TV, not only from the devices, is different, but it's actually proven that the younger generation, what they do is they turn stuff on streaming, and then they pull their phone up and are on their phone while it plays.
Yep.
So you're getting like half attention on both, and you need to be serving on both.
That second screen effect is a real thing. Also, people just walk out of the room,
Yeah.
right? Like there are impressions being served, and you think that they're being served to people who are actually watching them. I mean, this isn't necessarily a positive for streaming, but it's the same effect that you're having with traditional TV, right? It's on, it's in the background. You know, you may think you're getting like a view through conversion because someone saw your ad, but the reality is that it's muddied. So you just got to be careful with this stuff. You got to work with people who actually know how these things work. The tracking, regardless of what anyone tells you, the tracking for this, while better than traditional TV, is not great, right? Multi-device tracking, not great. Second screen tracking, not great. Inevitably, you're pulling up your phone to contact a law firm,
Yep.
or you're pulling up your computer, but the ad was seen potentially on another platform,
Yeah.
on watching Netflix on your iPad or
Yeah.
on your TV.
Definitely a great strategy to win top of mind marketing. Last click attribution is a little tough on it sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be the last
Yeah.
click. Who's putting unique phone numbers on all their different streaming ads? It's like, it doesn't make sense.
And then, like, realistically, how law firms can tackle this, why I think it's important is where TV, like you said, you're buying ad space where you think people might be. Now, moving forward, if you just take your docket, like, hey, the past year or two, pull all my cases that we've signed, give me their zip codes, the demographics, their ages, and take that information, just load it into the demand side provider, and you can just serve your ads to exactly those people that live in those zip codes. It'll identify all the households that have someone that lives in that household, which devices they have, and they'll show your ads to that exact match of people that match your target demographics of your existing client base.
You could do that on Facebook.
They
can
do
that on
exactly what I
Google.
said, yeah, streaming and social. It's like you can use those exact same tactics on different platforms to achieve that.
Now, the platforms themselves are evolving, right? Meta has been like the 500-pound gorilla in this space. We're seeing a surge in TikTok,
Yep.
right? And then there's advertising on other social platforms too, depending on where you are in the country, what demographic you're trying to reach. These niche social platforms may be good avenues for you as well. But the message here is 2026. This is where the shift from traditional media really pushes into programmatic, TV, radio, moving more towards streaming, social, you know, even platforms like Spotify.
I think this is prediction 1B, huge shift away from traditional radio into Spotify advertising and podcast advertising. So you can either advertise directly on the streaming platforms like Spotify, or I haven't seen a lot of lawyers do it yet, but I think it's a good strategy going to 2026, and I predict it's going to happen more and more, is buying ad space just like Athletic Greens does on podcasts that are very popular.
Again, it's all about where the eyeballs are, right? And unlike traditional media where you are guessing, you're relying on like Nielsen to kind of give you directional guidance on like what people are watching or listening to, you actually have real data, right? If you're buying a placement on a podcast, you can ask that podcast host exactly how many people are watching each episode. You can ask them for the demographics. We look in Spotify and in Apple Podcasts, and we could tell the ages, the genders, the jobs, the locations of whoever's watching our podcasts, and so could anyone else that you may be advertising with. So definitely something that people should be thinking about heavily in 2026 if you haven't already.
That's going to be a controversial one. I'm interested to see what people think about that in the comments.
If you're enjoying this episode of the Jon and Marc Podcast, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. We're also on social media. We'll see you there.
All right, prediction number 2.
Yep.
We hear a lot about AI. I think 2026 is the year of anti-AI with a lot of pushbacks from the consumer level.
I was reading a post on LinkedIn from Darren Shaw. So he's a local SEO expert. He owns Whitespark. And he said something to the akin of, and don't misquote me, Darren, here, but something akin to, I called a local business and I got an AI bot that answered and I hung up immediately. That is becoming more and more commonplace as people are able to recognize that I'm not talking to an actual human. It's just like when you're chatting on a website and it's like, you know, it's not a real person. You say support or chat or operator, right? Or when you call up and you're getting like an IVR and you just on a #0 to get to a human, like people want to talk to people. There's a place for AI, but this mass adoption in all aspects of customer service, I think the line is going to be drawn and people are going to say, no, when I call your business and I'm expecting a human, I want a human.
The term I'm going to use is AI fatigue on the consumer level.
Yep.
I think a key to success is bringing more human element into the customer service side of the business and using AI for other stuff, but there will be a lot of pushback on that side.
In 2026, I think we're going to see a clear delineation between most people who just use AI as part of their life and then AI as a skill set, right? Where people are actually able to use AI in a sophisticated way, where they have workflows that are potentially using multiple AI tools, where they've refined their processes. And this could be at a law firm, it could be marketers, any business in general. Like, there's a very big difference between us going to our video team and saying, we want to create a video that has these different AI elements, and we get a very fine polished product, and it takes a while to get something that's great, versus me just going into VO in Gemini and saying, make me a video of someone doing this,
Yeah, I've seen those videos. They're horrible.
right? Go on Sora
Yeah.
and you just scroll through and it's just garbage after garbage after
It's like our
garbage.
MTMP images we made.
Yeah.
Questionable.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that one, right? Us taking the selfie and it's got the photo of us taking the selfie.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't even make logical sense. So, we're not necessarily dealing with people with like 10 fingers on one hand anymore,
Yeah.
right? It's gotten better than that. But there is going to be in 2026 a very clear line of people who have expertise in using AI and just the rest of the populace.
I agree. And I think there's a dangerous game that's being played where maybe law firms think, hey, we need to use AI or we're going to be left behind, but aren't well equipped from a personnel or skill set perspective
Yeah.
to properly implement it. And they're going to do more harm to themselves and to their potential clients moving forward. All right. That was prediction number 2. Number 3, we believe Gemini is going to overtake ChatGPT.
At the beginning of 25, ChatGPT had almost 90% of the market share in LLM tools. We're now at the beginning of 2026. That has eroded. Estimates put it somewhere between 60 and 80% of the market share.
Mhm.
Now, there's two main reasons for this. One is because there's been a lot more tools that have come out, more specialized, right? People use Claude for coding, so they're not always going to ChatGPT. But the real zinger here is Google. And we've been saying this for a year, that even though OpenAI, ChatGPT kind of were at the forefront of a lot of this AI revolution, Google will win. Gemini's adoption has continued to increase. It is surging in market share. It has not surpassed ChatGPT at all. But our prediction by the end of 2026 is that Gemini will surpass ChatGPT in terms of market share. And we'll see similar to what happened with search, where initially you had AltaVista and Yahoo that were the original search kings, and then Google came.
Yeah, Yahoo crushed for
And
forever.
It just, eventually Google overtook it. And once they overtake, they never look back. So yesterday, Google's market cap hit $4 trillion. Insane. Google's not going anywhere. They're not succumbing to Sam Altman. Google will win. That's the prediction for 2026.
I agree with that. The AI wars are based on computing power and the access of information to compute to build better models. And Google has both of those things available to it as part of its infrastructure, and they have almost an unlimited amount of money. So what does this mean to you? If you believe in this prediction like I do, is if you're building infrastructure, maybe start building it with Gemini instead of ChatGPT, so down the road, you don't have to change it.
Maybe our audience doesn't know this, but the future of search is powered by Gemini.
Yeah.
AI overviews, those are powered by Gemini.
Your Siri answer will be powered by
Gemini.
Yes.
Yes. Apple signing a deal for Gemini to power Siri in the next iteration. Like, Google will win. Instead of Google paying for, or in addition to Google paying for monopolistic rights to be the default search engine on iPhones, now they're also paying to have Gemini be part of Apple's Siri platform. So Google will win. That's the prediction.
Agreed. All right, the next one we want to get into is a topic that has 3 prongs to it, but we're going to call it consolidation in the marketplace, especially in the legal marketplace. So first, we are predicting a consolidation from the law firm side, where we predict many law firms consolidating individual ones into bigger conglomerates, some mergers, some acquisitions. We see a lot of this happening. We predict a lot of this happening in 2026.
This has been happening throughout 25. Private equity investment into law firms, with the advent of alternative business structures in Arizona, it's made its mark. And we're seeing a consolidation of firms for a variety of different reasons. You've got law firm partners who maybe didn't have a succession plan.
Yeah,
And
just
are
want to
looking
cash out.
exit, right? You're seeing law firms want to join a bigger entity so they don't have to worry about back of house operations.
Yeah.
Someone to look at who's doing this the right way, Litgo. in Canada, the way that they are setting up their MSO by being a back of house operations, but still letting the firms kind of operate semi-independently on the front end, I think that's probably the right way to do this. There are other iterations of this as well, where private equity is coming in and acquiring multiple law firms and then merging them into one. A lot of different ways that this is happening, but it will continue to accelerate in 2026. It's not going away, right? There's no reason for it to go away. The legal marketplace, if you're afraid of competition and you're afraid of high acquisition costs, stay away from legal, but that's not something that private equity is afraid of, because they can overpower that with a lot of money.
Correct.
A lot of marketing dollars, a lot of brand visibility that could definitely help in a market where everybody's fighting for cases, and overall, just generally, the acquisition cost continues to rise across the marketplace. I think there's going to be an impact felt this year from that happening for firms that did not go with private equity. That is going to be a challenge. In a local market, when you've got huge 7-8-figure investments in law firms that are now just blowing their brand out of the water, and you're sitting there still trying to get a few cases here and there, that's where there's going to be a problem. And I don't know how that's necessarily going to impact those firms. Are they going to have to try and find someone to acquire them? Are they going to have to go and maybe merge on a smaller scale with another firm?
Yeah, it's interesting because we're seeing consolidation, in local areas, like with competitors consolidating, a high volume firm with like a litigation shop. We're seeing the consolidation. We're seeing consolidation across state lines.
Yep.
To increase the overall impact area. So we foresee this happening a lot more in 2026, and I'm interested to see the impact. Not only from the law firm side on the consolidation theme, we are predicting on the legal tech side of the house a huge consolidation. Over the past 2 years, there's been a boom of tech. The AI boom has made 1,000 different tools here and there. A lot of these tools are either going to die off, get acquired, or start consolidating into more holistic suites instead of too many niche solutions here.
We're going through a similar cycle as what happened in the SaaS space, right? Maybe a decade or so ago, where you've got all these point solutions coming up and they just wind up getting acquired.
Yeah, it was like, there's intake boom, then there's a case management stuff, then those all get combined. Now there's an AI boom, and it's like consumers want a simpler solution instead of having to tie everything together. But
in legal tech, like in all software, there's a lot of investment from either VCs or private equity, some type of institutional investment. They want to see a return.
Yes.
Right? So they're putting money into these businesses to see them grow and grow aggressively. And then at some point, there has to be an exit.
Yes.
So consolidation is one way that happens. And I think we're going to see some more of that this year.
And then to finalize the consolidation theme, it started happening at the end of 2025. We heard the news. 2026 is also, I believe, the year of the legal marketing agency consolidation.
Yeah, not a topic everyone really wants to talk about. Agencies in the legal marketing space have been getting acquired left and right. We could talk about some of the specifics. Do we want to talk about the specifics? We'll start there.
Do you think it's going to happen? I think it's going to happen.
It is happening.
It is happening. It's our prediction.
There aren't many left. It's like firms like ours,
Yes.
right? We talk to the other people who run the shops.
Yeah, for those who don't know, all the agency owners talk to each other on a pretty consistent basis, besides the ones that aren't nice to each other and you know who you are. But we all chit-chat behind closed doors and are mostly very friendly.
We knew about a lot of these acquisitions happening before they were publicly announced. We also receive a lot of the phone calls when law firms find out that their agency has been acquired and then their operations are being offshored, or they're dealing with a significant reduction in communication, or they're told that their project manager or account manager, there's going to be no layoffs, and then all of a sudden next week their account manager is laid off. I don't foresee it slowing down, and the ones that are left, I think, going to be the ones that are more successful here. This is potentially the inverse of what we were talking about with the law firms. The ones that are getting consolidated are getting more money behind them, are able to grow. I think in the agency space, what's happening with all this investment is you're seeing the agencies actually dilute their offering. And what once was a great agency is now run with institutional dollars with the mindset of how do I squeeze as much value out of my investment as possible. And that could be offshoring. It could be, maybe you're going to get 2 less pages of content. Maybe your link building efforts are going to just be a little bit more diluted. Maybe development is going to get pushed to a different team and they're just going to try and extract value.
We're not calling out any particular person here, just generally these are the themes of things we see happen. And the fact of the matter is, for example, anyone who owned that agency and sold it, good for them. They made a bunch of money, but like they still want to do great work for you, but they no longer are in charge and someone else pulls the strings, which usually leads to the decline in quality.
Yeah, I mean, our audience here is law firm owners or law firm marketers, and you're the ones that are dealing with the fallout of what happens when your agency winds up getting
Yeah.
acquired, consolidated. It's not always a great situation. I mean, sometimes it
works out good. It works. Sometimes it works out well.
Yeah, that's the prediction, right? We're talking about
Yeah,
predictions.
predictions.
The prediction is this will continue throughout 2026. I think this is actually a good transition into some of our other marketing topics.
Yes. Pivoting away from consolidation. Prediction number 5: the death of vanity metrics.
Should have died a long time ago.
Yeah, it was on its deathbed, but
Looking at traffic as a metric of success, it's not, right? Like we could put up blog posts that just generate a bunch of traffic for something that's largely irrelevant, but just traffic as a whole is diminishing from traditional organic search.
Yep.
Right? AI doesn't necessarily drive direct traffic. So the traffic that you are getting is more valuable. You can't look at traffic anymore, but it's not just traffic.
impressions are crazy now.
Impressions, because there's so many different SERP features. There was a big spike in impressions a couple weeks ago because AI overviews started featuring map packs. Clicks weren't increasing, but now you're seeing brands show up in the map pack, in the AI overview, and those count as impressions too. The biggest vanity metric going away, I mean, it hasn't been a vanity metric. It's been a leading indicator, but it really is becoming a challenge to use rankings as a measuring stick of success because of personalization.
Yes.
That is something that I think law firm owners have to come to terms with. We've had many tough conversations with managing partners at firms who want to understand where they should be looking now that rankings aren't that measuring stick.
Yes.
There isn't a clear answer. I will tell you something you should not be doing is looking at these AI tools that are trying to gauge your visibility within AI platforms. That is not a reliable replacement for rankings, because AI is extremely personalized. Everyone's results are different. Where you physically search changes your results. What you've searched in the past changes your results. You can't use those tools. Rankings, traffic won't matter by the end of 2026. We don't know what Google SERPs are going to look like, but they definitely aren't going to look like they're looking today.
Well, John, if rankings and traffic aren't important, what are important? We run an agency.
Cases.
Leads and cases, baby. Leads
That's
and
it.
cases.
All that matters is cases. Your attribution is, we've been beating the attribution drum for years about wanting to make sure that you know where every single lead comes from. That is just going away.
Well, you still want to know where it's coming from, but it's not exactly how it got there, if that makes any sense.
That makes a ton of sense, Mark. You just don't know anymore, right? You may wind up getting a lead through your map pack, or a lead through branded paid search, or a lead through your LSAs, but that's not where they found you. If you start cutting off all of the top of funnel awareness, all of a sudden you're not getting those bottom of funnel things that are actually tracked. So yes, you can still track last touch attribution for the most part, but the funnel has changed.
That goes into our prediction number 6. 2026 is the year of holistic full funnel marketing in the legal space.
Yeah, I'm going to say something that's probably not going to sit well with a lot of people.
Oh, great. You never do that.
The days of agencies focusing on single disciplines is going to be gone. So we have traditionally run an SEO agency. For years, we've said, what are Jon and Marc good at? What is our team good at? It's SEO. We are still really great at SEO, but when it comes to generating cases for firms, what matters is generating those cases, not investing more in something that may not be what you need to be investing in. So you need to think about where your marketing dollars are going in a dynamic way. Setting a fixed budget for TV, a fixed budget for paid social, a fixed budget for all these different things is not necessarily how you have to go about this, because the game is changing on a regular basis.
Yes.
Constantly. And you have to take advantage of those opportunities. SEO has become brand marketing. So people use all the acronyms like GEO, AIO, AEO, doesn't matter. SEO is optimizing for visibility online in organic ways, which includes AI, which includes SEO, which includes visibility on other people's media platforms, on their podcasts, on news websites.
Yep.
It's just visibility, right? Visibility optimization. The challenge here is going to be for firms that have agencies that do different specific things those agencies may not be giving you the full story about where you should be investing.
Yep.
That's the challenge, is if you have a social media agency and it turns out that social media does not work for your firm because of your firm's personalities or because you don't invest in video content or whatever the reason, your social agency is still going to tell you to invest in social, as opposed to taking a step back and thinking holistically, right? That's the prediction. Marketing is becoming holistic in 2026. You need to think holistically. Your marketing strategies need to be dynamic, and you need to stick and move and constantly change what you're doing to react to the market.
Yep, I think that's going to be a big shift that people need to adjust their internal teams for, adjust their agencies they work with for, because I've seen the shift over the past couple of years. Before, people had like a vein. They're like, TV's my thing, and the more money I put into TV, the better. But I think single channel tactics are going away, and it's holistic. What is our overall strategy to build brand awareness, drive those leads to us, and then convert them effectively once they land on any of our digital properties?
Yeah, and it's not to say that any of the individual disciplines are going away.
Correct.
They're just changing and changing quickly.
The days of being like, hey, I just want to spend 50 grand and get my cases from one channel, from pay-per-click, and that's it, and do no brand marketing or no other marketing, or I think is going away.
Which leads to our prediction.
Prediction number 7.
Transparency.
Transparency.
This is the year of transparency. Pivoting off of number 6, lead generators. We all know the challenges with lead generators.
Yeah, so not specifically just lead generators. Legally, from a bar standpoint, from a regulation standpoint, and from a consumer standpoint, people are demanding transparency of who is marketing to them and who they're reaching out to. And it is going to cause major ripples and changes in the market in 2026.
Yeah, we saw it start beginning of this year with SB 37 in California, right? So California, obviously one of the largest states in the country, is demanding, now enforcing, that there is transparency on all legal marketing.
Yeah.
So that's social media ads, that's on your landing pages, on your website. In order to market in California, you have to very clearly state what firm you're marketing for in California. That's really hard to do if you're a lead generator and you're taking leads in and then you're selling them to a bunch of different firms.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that. Transparency, while I believe people want it more and more from a consumer standpoint, it's going to be enforced now, right? I don't think like California isn't going to be the only state that's going to be enforcing regulations like this. We've seen it happen on a national level with, the TCPA changes that wound up almost getting put forward last year and then getting rolled back. But we'll probably see this roll out to other states as well, where transparency won't just be demanded, it'll be required.
Moving into number 8, I'm going to call this prediction the rise of the influencer lawyer. Lawyers, brands will become more influencer-like in their demeanor. They'll be more advertising about their lifestyle, become way more popular on social media, and that is the brand that they'll be pushing forward. We see people blowing up today already on YouTube. I have a podcast coming up we're trying to schedule with Mike Raffi, the Georgia lawyer on YouTube. He's blown up on TikTok and YouTube. There's a ton of these people, and I predict that there'll be a lot of influencer lawyers in 2026.
People want to do business with people they know, they like, and they trust.
Yes.
And if you as a lawyer are in someone's pocket, you're in their social media feed, they know you intimately, they like you because you're talking about things like Hunter Garnett. Watch that episode if you haven't seen it. Like, he is a great example of the influencer lawyer. He talks to his people in his market. He knows his demographic. People you trust, right? If you are being transparent, again, right? Theme of 2026. If you're being transparent, if you're being real, if you're not being fake, you're being authentic, people will trust you. They'll want to do business with you. They'll know you, they'll like you, they'll trust you.
That was our 2026 predictions. Probably part 1. We might do this again. If you have predictions that you want to make, please put them in our comments below and we'll respond. We might even do a response video to your all's predictions. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. John, send us out.
There you have it. We'll see you soon. Make sure you follow us on social media. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Get notified of when our new podcast episodes come out. We'll see you next week on Jon Marc Podcast.